This one we're looking at, young Joe, 16 years old, just moved to Cardiff.
Very young.
Joining our academy.
Awful posture.
What were your first thoughts when moving to Cardiff? What were you thinking about joining the club?
I was nervous when I first come, obviously, because I was going into digs in Canton. Luckily, the family are amazing. They're still a big part of my life now, so I got really lucky there. But obviously, it was quite nerve-wracking coming at first. Going to the stadiums, I remember doing the jobs on that match day and being around Chopra, Bothroyd's, McPhail, Witts and all them boys. You know, I had a real good, exciting team at the time. So it was nice to be around it, be around the club. Obviously, I was learning down at Treforest to come here at match days and see the boys at home with the fans, and that was, you know, it was a good experience and a good sort of start for me, really.
So your footballing background before that, was it completely different to what you got when you got to Cardiff? Like, were you in academies, or was it literally just plucked from obscurity?
Yeah, I played good standard football, but not academies. It was, you know, good sort of Sunday league football, really. And then got to like sort of end of last year at school and then started trialling at different clubs to try and get a scholarship, and ended up luckily coming to Cardiff and signing a scholarship here, and I've been here ever since. So yeah, thankfully come here. I think me and Rambo spoke when we went down to the academy. You know, they're great days, really. You're around the boys, you know, straight from school, playing football every day, with all different types of lads from all different backgrounds, and it was a great experience, really, and a great sort of learning curve.
I was reading your first ever programme piece earlier. You went from training with the under-18s 1 week to being called up to the first team subs bench and then making your debut in the Cup. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was amazing, really. A bit surreal. I think Ards got the call to send a couple of the academy boys to be involved in the League Cup, which obviously even now it's a great competition for a lot of our young players to get experience. And yeah, we come up, I think I come on against Oxford. We won that game and I'd done okay, I think. And then I think I started the next round against Huddersfield at home. I'm pretty sure that's that picture there. And yeah, it was an amazing competition for me. Obviously, it was a year we got to the final, which I'm sure we'll get onto, as I can see. Yeah, it was fantastic. I played in every round, I think, pretty much. I remember playing the semi away at Palace, Selhurst Park. So for a 17, 18-year-old, it was great experience for me. I loved every minute of it. And
within 2 months, you were making your league debut. I believe just before that, you signed your first pro deal, and you scored in your league debut at Hull. What a goal that was.
Yeah, amazing, yeah. Obviously, it all happened really quickly. To be around, sort of to go up and have a bit of exposure with the first team in the Cup, but then to be involved in a league game just felt totally different. And obviously come on against Hull, scored a goal, and then from that moment on, really, I just felt like I sort of belonged in that first team environment and was obviously the young lad. I'd done tees for about 5 years on the coach, honestly. Couldn't get anyone else to come through. I was doing it for ages, but no, it was amazing to be around sort of some unbelievable lads, some real experienced players, and they have a massive impact on you, you know. As a senior player now, you know the sort of responsibility you have for younger players coming through, and it was no different for me as a young lad. You know, I had some great sort of role models to look up to. So yeah, it was great times.
And as a 17-year-old in that environment, the older boys, are they giving you stick, or are they putting their arm around you, or both?
Bit of both, really. Yeah. I think like the tea thing, I think it's amazing because it's a chance. I always say to the boys like on the bus, it's a chance for you to. It was a chance for me to speak to the lads. Do you know what I mean? And to show that you're half decent lad, or you can. Do you know what I mean? You know, you show your personality a little bit. And I think even for now, like, we get the young lads doing it, even now on away trips, and it's a chance to take the mick a little bit out of them, but also get them involved, and I think that helps them.
You're an outgoing person. Were you like that back then? Or was it your personality shining through, or were you a little bit more shy?
Bit shy, obviously. I think, yeah, a bit shy. Obviously, you know, you're around these established professional footballers. It can be a bit daunting, but I think, like I say, as you get a bit older and you start to, you know, I've got Maces in the next pick. He was brilliant. Me and him were like inseparable at the time, and yeah, it was great times to be around the lads, and yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it.
You mentioned the next pick a couple of times, so we'll move on to that. It's on the way to, I believe, the Carling Cup final. Like you said, first professional year at the club. You've played a lot in this competition, and you're on your way to Wembley. I mean, it's the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. The whole like feeling of the club, obviously at the time, was just amazing. Making the final, the build up to the final was just, you know, something I'll never forget, really. I remember obviously going down there, the fans sort of seeing us off. This was, I think, at the stadium, and then obviously the other side. I think we stayed in London for a couple of days and then made our way to Wembley, and just the whole feeling of the final and being a part of that was amazing. It was just, yeah, a great experience for me. Disappointing, obviously, to lose it, and I wasn't in the squad in the final, which was gutting. You know, we were so close for it to be an amazing day in the history of the club, but I'm sure people look back on it fondly anyway. It was a great day out.
Yeah, this club, we always have exciting things going on. Very little quiet seasons.
It's not boring here at Cardiff City. We can agree on that, can't we? So no, it's been amazing. Like I say, we've had cup finals, obviously the FA Cup final before this as well. Playoff finals, we've had promotions. So yeah, it's certainly not boring at this football club, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
And 12 months after that, of course, your first promotion as a player.
Yeah.
Talk us through, actually it was a season where you probably didn't play as much as you'd have liked, but I'd imagine you learnt a lot along the way.
Yeah, all these seasons really. I think you don't realise until maybe when you're a bit more experienced and later on in your career, you don't realise how much you was probably learning at the time and improving as a player. I remember the squad was unbelievable, like I say, real men in that squad, great group of togetherness. I remember I was training really well, I felt really good. I'd had a lot of exposure in the first season. I wanted to play, obviously, and I remember trying to get out on loan maybe, and I remember at the time being told that just wait, be around it, feel like something special's happening here. It'd be a great sort of experience for you for the rest of your career, and it turned out to be true. And obviously to be around it, play a few appearances, but just to be around that dressing room and sort of see what it takes and what it means to get promoted. And obviously, you know, the first one for the football club to get to that Premier League was amazing, just to be around it and see how it all went down.
Now, we won't skip over your loan period. We haven't captured it in pictures here, but that year on loan at Yeovil while we were in the Premier League first time round, what was that like? Obviously, it was a relegation battle, but I think I read something earlier where you said, you know, we weren't getting pummeled every week. It was a real tough, intense thing. That must have set you up so well for Championship life and the battles that brings.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think I had 36 games or something, most of them starts. No, it was just amazing. There was a lot of young players there, good players. Tom Lawrence was there, Kiefer Moore. Loads of players that have gone on and had really good careers. It was all just a little bit too young probably at the time, but yeah, it was a great club, and it was a really amazing year for me really to go out and be around, you know, first team football, 90 minutes, playing regular football, and then, you know, it shaped me really to come back and, you know, really try and push on at Cardiff. And but it was a massively sort of invaluable season for me. That definitely improved me as a player. And
you mentioned coming back to Cardiff, and that moves us on perfectly to the next one. You come back to Cardiff, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer immediately signs you to a new contract, which says a lot about your time out on loan. You must have felt the bee's knees coming back, getting a new deal, and be like, well, I'm going to be a part of this straight away.
Yeah, I remember there was so many players here. We had a massive squad at the time, so I remember obviously Ole signed me for another contract, which was amazing. So it sort of gave me sort of the feeling that like I can still improve, I was still a young player, I can still grow. And I sort of had a discussion with him about going on another loan, so which I was, you know, on board with. I wanted to carry on playing football. I could see around the squad we had a lot of bodies, so it was going to be tough for me. I just sort of played in the first round of the Carling Cup, I think, for him. Sort of done quite well. We got through. I played another game, sort of carried on, and then he sort of ended up wanting to keep me sort of around it really, which was amazing really. And then I think this was against Norwich at home in the league where I think I scored, and you know, I just sort of like start making my way. To sort of be told that you're not going to really have a chance, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're going to need to probably go out on loan to play, to sort of just get my head down, and manage to get my way into the first team fold, and you know, sort of starting in league games, and that was amazing for me. It's just obviously changed after we left, but
but I mean, you know, realistically, as you said, it does change when managers change, but the reality is that you were still heavily involved when Russell came in that first season, and then he played you a lot during his second season here, didn't he?
Yeah,
so,
of course.
You know, you were trusted as a player in the squad.
No, again, I think, like I say, when Russell Slade come in, he wanted to trim the squad a little bit and change it slightly, and you know, it was brilliant for me again, and he was a massive part on me really feeling like I sort of belong and playing an established role for Cardiff, which was all I really wanted from the minute, you know, I sort of come here. It was all I wanted to do. So, like I say, it's not a perfect journey. It doesn't happen easily, but you know, sort of with perseverance and sticking at it, managed to obviously get a bit more of a regular sort of position in the team, and great to learn off Wits and Gunners there too. Obviously, I ended up playing a lot of games with them anyway later on in my career, but you know, they were great to learn off. You know, some fantastic players at the club, and when you're a young player, you just got to try and fit in, and you've got to try and get your minutes, and you know what I mean, you can't be too precise on where you want to play. You know, you're still trying to sort of get yourself into the team. So I was more than happy to sort of play on that left-hand side, and I thought it worked really well for us. We sort of played lopsided, and the left full-back sort of bombed on with Fabio or Scott Malone, and Pelt sort of tucked round, and Yeah, it worked well. Got a lot of the ball and we had a lot of good games.
You mentioned Peltz. I know he's somebody that's a good friend of yours, and we're actually coming on to a bit of a cheap picture of mine where I've put 3 really good friends of yours in. Joe Mason, who you mentioned, who you were inseparable for the first couple of years here. Sean Morrison, who, I mean, you were a dynamic duo, you two, for a long time, and obviously Witz, who you said you learnt a lot from. How important have the friendships been to you while you've been here, and can you talk us through any stories you've got with these boys?
I think football's about memories at the end of the day. It's obviously we're trying to create memories for ourselves, but also for the supporters that are going on away days. You know full well you've got a responsibility. You're creating memories for them and for us, and it's amazing. I had the pleasure of playing with some unbelievable lads. I think the fans always love to see sort of friendships on the pitch and good change rooms, good lads fighting for each other, and we had that for a number of years. It was brilliant times. Obviously playing with some of your best mates who are still real close with now. It was great times really. I look back on it, fondness. Nooney, Peltz, obviously Witz, Gunners, Moz, Mace. There were some great lads, and yeah, it was a pleasure to be a part of that squad. And
obviously, now being the captain, you bring that togetherness and try and bring the boys together a little bit like that as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always said the strength of ours at Cardiff is the fact that we're a one city club in Wales, and lads have to come here and buy into the culture of the team, everything that the club means to the community. And I think that's always been a strength of ours, and the boys now get it. I know they do. I think we've had like we've shown this season how together we are, and I think there's a real good connection with the fans and the manager and everyone else. So it's great, and it's massively over a course of a season that connection with each other, also the supporters, is massive for success in the season.
And talking about that togetherness, it moves us on perfectly to the next picture. While it probably won't be your favourite from that season,
I can't believe you've done me with this.
It's an absolute belter from a promotion-winning season with a squad that was beautifully together. Talk us through the time under Neil Warnock, how enjoyable it was. On the pitch, it must have felt the same.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, he come in the year before, and we sort of like we felt we had a strong finish to the season, but no one really knew how we was going to get on the next season. It's still a bit of an unknown, and I think we done some really good business in the transfer window, and it just clicked. I think straight from the first sort of game, really. You just felt like there was something special brewing, and we had some really good wins against Villa at home, Sheffield United at home, and Wolves away. And you just felt like if we could stick together and keep going, who knows where we could sort of go, really. And it was unbelievable effort from everyone, the whole squad, really, and obviously the manager was brilliant. He knew exactly what he needed out of everyone, and he managed to get us over the line, and it was a strong season in the Championship. Obviously Fulham and Wolves were really strong sides, so it took a monumental effort from everyone to get it over the line, and it was just one of the best seasons of my career.
How intense was that run-in, and how did the squad manage to maintain that run with Fulham, who were a juggernaut just coming behind?
Just sort of stick with it, really. I mean, it's difficult because I remember we lost 4 on the bounce, I think, over Christmas, and everyone's sort of thinking, the wheels have come off. It was sort of Cardiff, they look like they're done, and then all of a sudden, sort of beginning of January, we sparked back into life. I think we beat Sunderland here at home.
But Gabe, you were instrumental, and you scored a beautiful goal, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, actually that day. One of very few, but yeah, no, it was and we just went on a mad run again after that. And like I said before about this season, I think that strength to come back from bad losses, from bad little spells, I think it's massive in this league. It really is massive, and that bounce back. So we had that in abundance here. We had obviously quality, real togetherness, and it's massive in the Championship season. There's so many games, such a demanding league. I think to have that togetherness and that team spirit, I think it's massive. We had it in abundance there, and we've got it now as well. We've got a really good group. So
and that's probably why we weren't far off in the Premier League the following year, that togetherness. I mean, you look at the way other teams invested. We invested some money, but it was all about that squad that got us promoted, really, and we really weren't far off. How was the season from your perspective?
I thought it maybe took me and maybe us as a team as well a little bit of time to get going, which is something you look back on and you say, I wish we'd started a little bit better. You want that. After all the excitement of that, can we have started the season a bit better? But like I say, all in all, it was a win away in the end, and there were so many little games and little moments throughout the season that you look back on and you think, we could have maybe. But listen, it's such a tough league. But all in all, like I say, you've seen other teams go up and struggle more than we did, and we had some really good times up there. We had some really good wins again, memories for the fans at different places. Obviously, Old Trafford at the end, and certain games throughout, beating teams around us, I thought we was really strong. So disappointing it was the overriding factor in the end. But you know, really proud again of the way we sort of conducted ourselves throughout that season.
And a slightly more fun one. Did you actually make contact on that Spurs player, or?
Honestly, I never touched him. I can't believe it. It was the biggest. I don't even think it was a yellow.
I think you just about caught him, Joe.
I can't believe we appealed it. It was unbelievable. I think I was saying in the dressing room after, I never touched him, and the gaffer ran with it. Yeah, probably was a red.
Just about.
Just about.
And again, sadly, we have to go into the COVID years, which again were such a surreal time, but we reached the playoffs. How did it feel from a squad to come back knowing you haven't quite got that support of the fans in the stadium, and you have to motivate yourself? How did you as a dressing room and you as a player cope with that?
Yeah, it's really strange. It wasn't the same, obviously. I think the year after was really difficult, whether it's a full season without the fans. I think this season, because of everything that had gone on, I think everyone was just happy to be back playing. I think the supporters were just happy to have football on the TV. We obviously come back. I think the boys worked really hard in the lockdown period. We was doing things on Strava. Neil Harris had us, you know, working hard remotely, obviously. And we come back and hit the ground running straight away. I think Leeds was our first game here, and we had a good win, and then we just sort of like ended up, you know, finding ourselves in the playoffs, which was, you know, a great sort of, you know, reward for us really for the hard work we put in, and you know, it gives us another opportunity to get back into the Premier League.
Like you said, I mean, you're a player that it doesn't look like you need too much motivation, but just not having the fans there to offer that little bit more. Football didn't quite feel the same, did it?
No. When we first come back, I thought it was okay. Everyone sort of got their head around it, but the full season we had after that one was just, I found it really hard. I think a lot of the boys did mentally to sort of get yourself going for games. You know, the fans, they're everything. They get the atmosphere going. That's what you live for as a footballer, to come into stadiums, to have supporters, to have people following you away as well as at home, and to not have that, you know, it didn't feel right. So I'm glad that's hopefully in the past, and we can push forward with having fans back in the stadiums and enjoying our football again.
They were back in the stadium, thankfully, by October 2021, when we celebrated your 10 years since your first professional league game for us. Did you ever, like when you first signed here, did you think did you have it in your mind that you were going to be in Cardiff for that length of time?
No, of course not. No, I don't think you ever can in football. I don't think you can ever look too far ahead. I think you've got to just live in the moment, and thankfully, you know, I've been here as long as I have, and I've loved every minute of it. But no, I didn't. When you first come in, you know, looking back at them pictures, you don't think, you're just trying to integrate into the team. You're trying to get that next little thing. It could be a sub appearance, whatever it might be, a league, games, trying to establish yourself into the team. You're never sort of looking too far ahead, and I don't think you can as a young footballer. You've got to just really live in the moment and keep your head down. But yeah, obviously to sort of hit 10 years at the club, obviously massive milestone, and I think it's quite a rare thing, especially this day and age. To do that is something I'm massively proud of. And you know, people have different careers, and you know, that's absolutely fine. I absolutely love mine, being at the club I love for 10 years, over 10 years now. You know, it's something I'm really proud of, and you know, it's really amazing to keep that going.
And at the end of that season, you decided to extend your stay for another 2 years, and you were rewarded with the captaincy. What was that like for you?
It was awkward because Moz was still around, massive friend of mine, great captain. Obviously I wanted him to still be here really, so when it was confirmed that he was going to be leaving the club and I got the armband, you know, I was obviously so proud to have it. Something I spoke to him about, do you know what I mean? He was brilliant with me, and yeah, just really thankful that I was able to take the armband and lead the club on. I knew it was going to be probably a transitional year for us, with so many players going, new manager, all this. I knew it was probably going to be a tough year, but we managed to come through it, got there in the end and got through a tough season. But I think we all learned from that as well, you know what I mean, as a group of players, especially the lads that come in, me, myself as well, everyone around the club. I think you learn that if you don't quite get it right, you can have difficulty. This is an unforgiving league, and I think we're better for that this season because of the experiences we had last season. So hopefully, you know, seasons like that are behind us, and we can push on and try and, you know, have really good seasons, some of the ones that we've had in the past.
And again, I mean, as a captain in his first full season as a captain, towards the end of the season when Sabri comes in, they were battles, weren't they? Yeah,
they were battles. We knew it was going to be a battle. I thought it was the right manager at the right time. Obviously with Sol coming back as well, it gave everyone a lift, and yeah, it was tough. Like I say, we had to find ways to win when confidence and everything had been lost really. And like I say, it was tough, but we managed to dig in and get the wins that we needed. And okay, the last 2 or 3 games, once we was already safe, you know, we ended up losing them, and ended up looking probably a little bit bleaker of the season than maybe it could have been. But you know, at the end of the day, we'd done our job. The manager at the time come in, Sabri, and he had one job to do, and that was to keep this club in the division. And as players, we had a massive responsibility to keep this club in division.
We've used that gift plenty of you celebrating at Rotherham. What was going through your mind at the time? Because I'm sure you can picture it. The boys are celebrating in the corner. Cedric scored an absolutely brilliant volley to ensure our safety in the league. And you celebrate. Look, it looked like it meant everything to you.
Yeah, it did. It did. It meant everything. It was just relief, I think. Amazing feeling. There was a lot of emotions because it had been a tough season. You had that worry. I think you hold that, especially obviously myself as captain. I didn't want that responsibility of being involved in taking this club down the division. So we knew as a team we had a massive responsibility to get ourselves out of the trouble, and that was a massive goal for us, a massive moment, and to share it with the fans in your way. And I don't think there's nothing better than that. Obviously, you know, there's no better feeling than sort of screaming at the fans' faces. They're screaming back at you after a last-minute winner. So yeah, great day, and I know it's one that the fans enjoyed.
Joe Ralls, Cardiff City captain, something we want to hear continue for a long time to come. What does the future hold for you, Joe?
Hopefully more memories for Cardiff. Obviously we've had some, looking through this, we've had some fantastic ones over the years. I'd love to, you know, push this club on again and go and achieve something else, be unbelievable, and I'm so hungry to do that. I know the boys are as well in the dressing room. And you know, having that belief is massive. So we've got a great manager, great players, and the future looks really good for us. So with the fans with us, which they have been amazing for us, you know, anything's possible. So yeah, we'll see.